Okay, did you read the rest of the intro?
Oh,
Please read that before I start.
Robert's intro. Robert is speaking out of the Professional Speaking Manual, project number 1, the keynote address. The title is Hidden in Plain Sight, the prospects for small business. Everyone in this meeting is a small business owner attending a National Association of Small Business conference. Time will be 15 to 20 minutes.
Thank you.
Yay! I forgot about that.
All right. It's great to see so many of you in attendance tonight. You made it a priority to come here and take time off to strategize with your fellow small business owners about the future. The fact that you are here, they causes me to have hope in the future of small business. And I congratulate you on your determination to succeed in a challenging economic environment. After all, you built it. You deserve the credit. No one else did it for you. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, most honored guests, in the next 2 days, we will be talking about the current state of small business. We'll be talking about the challenges in the current economic environment and what those solutions will be for the future. Now let's take a look at where we presently stand with small businesses. The past 4 years have been very tough for small businesses. Now I know part of this is going to be a downer, but there is inspiration in the end, so bear with me. Thousands of small businesses have, quote unquote, gone out of business. A great many businesses have lost their financing. There's been a blizzard of new regulations from all governments, taxes and fees. At last count, 50,000 pages of regulations have been passed. Unemployment is above 8% for the last 42 months. We've had 4 years of $1 trillion plus of budget deficits. Consumer demand has fallen, and net worth of small businesses, of families, has fallen 39%. So there is a wealth drain, consumer drain, and an economic drain all at the same time. But worse yet is the uncertainty that is permeating the business community in the future. All the other problems can be addressed, but the uncertainty is very important to look at. If you are a small business and you're considering expansion, why would you expand if you don't even know what your tax rates are going to be after January 1st? After January 1st, well, we still have the current tax rates, which some people call the Bush tax cuts, but they are the current tax structure that we currently live under right now. What will the regulations be from Obamacare? 30 plus new taxes are kicking in. Regulations that are going to affect all types of businesses are kicking in. Very few people know about this. How's that going to affect your business? These will have a detrimental effect on expansion plans, on job hiring, and future investment. We also have the issue of financing. It's very hard to get financing for a small business. I'm currently working with a dental office that's going retail. It took months to get the Wells Fargo SBA financing with all the strings attached. It was not an easy process, so that is slowing up the process also. Also, there is an estimated $1 trillion in businesses, large and small, sitting on the sidelines that is waiting to be invested under better conditions. One CPA on TV summed it up this way. He said, with the blizzard of new regulations, taxes, and fees, he calls it the CPA Full Employment Act. And he is right. As a small business owner, how much time do you devote to paperwork of all kinds? Or sitting down at the county trying to get a business tax permit paid? So you can see how that would come about. Doesn't it seem like sometimes the train of future government control regulations is just going down the track and there's nothing you can do about it no matter what action you take? It does seem that way sometimes. But there is something you can do about it. There is hope. So my message now is don't be resigned to that train just going down the tracks to a future that we cannot see. There is hope. You are here. And there's also a spirit of entrepreneurship that is bred in us that wants to do better. And that spirit of entrepreneurship is bubbling like magma underneath a volcano, waiting to escape under the right conditions. The title of my speech is Hidden in Plain Sight. And why would I title it Hidden in Plain Sight? Well, the great auction buyer on Storage Wars, Barry Weiss, bought a storage locker. Nice 5x10, full of crap. And after sorting it, gloves on of course, and after sorting it, he ran across two valuable signs in the very back corner of the storage locker, hidden under everything. And when he saw that, he said, I knew it. It was hidden in plain sight. Those signs have to be worth some money. Well, that's a spirit of entrepreneurship that is there. Now let's look back. Was that always hidden? Was that always a situation where we were buried and couldn't advance? The answer is no. No. You all have heard of Home Depot. Well, Home Depot started in the 80s. Ken Langone was the investment banker who backed Home Depot, the two individuals who formed Home Depot. In a recent TV interview, he said, with a sad face, that today, starting a business like Home Depot cannot be done. There are too many obstacles in the way to make it succeed. Let's look at Walt Disney. Walt Disney was sitting in a restaurant and he was talking to somebody and he scratched on a napkin his ideas for Disneyland. On a napkin. He had no money. He didn't know where the land would be. He didn't have any idea how it would be done. But in his heart, he knew it would be done. He worked for a year to get the financing, to get the land, and construction started exactly 1 year from the day he jotted his plans on a napkin. A year later, the construction was finished, and in June 1955, Disneyland opened. It took 2 years from the idea stage to the completion stage. Now, in the state of California today, if he was to propose anything like that, it It would take him 2 years just to get through the environmental impact report. Probably 5 years to get through the lawsuits before he can even start obtaining permits to do construction. That is how the atmosphere or climate of business world has changed. Small businesses need a better climate in which to survive and to thrive. That will cause the job expansion needed to help the economy. Small businesses comprise 99.7% of all employer firms. That's from the largest to the smallest. And the small business definition depends on the industry, but it's usually 250 employees or under, and then there's dollar figures for sales. They start 65 to 70% of all new jobs. They have a wide sphere of influence on the community. If you go to your local dry cleaner, who employs 3 people, for instance, he's paying their salaries, the owners are paying their salaries, and supporting the families of those 3 employees. If you look at each small business in that respect, there's a wide web of influence that small businesses have over the economy if they are doing well. Now, do all small businesses stay small? No, they grow. Microsoft was once a small business. Intel, National Semiconductor, all the startups in the 80s are now large. So small businesses can grow up to be large. And then new businesses will take over. Back in 1939, 2 gentlemen, Bill Hewitt and Dave Packard, were tinkering around with an audio oscillator. That's what I know, it's audio oscillator. I don't know what an audio oscillator is, but it has something to do with sound. Well, they perfected their first copy. Their workshop was a 1-car garage in Palo Alto, California. It is now a museum, that garage. Their first customer happened to be Walt Disney, who bought 8 of them to use for the movie Fantasia, sound for the movie Fantasia. That company is now known as HP. It grew from that 1-car garage to a huge corporation. My point is, with an encouraging business environment, a small firm can grow large. And if each one of you in this room has a desire to grow larger and has that ambition, someday you too can be the next HP, the next Google, the next Home Depot, the next Staples. And with the right small business environment, that can be done. I'm going to use another analogy here. Let's say you have a garden. I lived in Las Vegas, and we had nothing but rocks and a little bit of sand in between the rocks in the backyard. That was the ground. If I planted a seed in that ground, would it grow very much? No, it was not the right ground, it wasn't the right climate, and it wouldn't have grown. But if you plant a seed in rich, fertile soil that has lots of water, it will grow big and flourish as a plant. That's how we could look at small businesses in today's economic environment. We provide the right environment, the small businesses can grow, provide jobs, and it will just pull the whole economy up and make us prosper. My fellow business owners, there's one thing I want you to take away today. The government does not create jobs. Will you please say that with me? The government does not create jobs. And have I said before that you built your business and you deserve the credit? What can you and I do about it? We just said that government doesn't create jobs. So what is the role of government in society? And when I say government, I'm talking about everything from the city of Naples, Collier County, state of Florida, up to the federal government. What is the role regarding business policy? It is to encourage it. You need regulations, but stay out of the way and let people compete and fight for business and grow. There's one state that's very business friendly right now. It's Texas. People are flocking to Texas, and the unemployment rate is low. There are states where the unemployment rate is high and highly regulated business, and people are leaving. So that is how the government can address that situation. So let's talk about how we can achieve a better business climate. We're now at the solution stage. We've talked about the problems. We've shown some hope. Now let's discuss how we're going to resolve the situation. The first step is to educate yourself. Know the cost of regulations for your business. Ask your accountant, how much time does it take you to fill paperwork out? Or any other government form? What's the cost of all the permits and fees that I pay every year? Have those numbers available so you know what's actually going on in the economy for your particular business. And don't keep those numbers to yourself. Tell your employees. That way the employees will have a stake in the business. And if the employees see that, well, wow, it's costing them all this money for regulations and taxes, and really you get nothing out of it, and that could affect my job. Because the sad fact is most of small businesses live on very slim profit margins. So even a small hike in taxes can kill businesses, cause them to go out of business. And then educate your customers. Tell your customers, this is what's affecting me. You know, if these regulations are passed, we'll be out of business. So let people know. A good example is back when I lived in the Bay Area in San Francisco. They have a lot of air pollution in California. But they got down to the point where all the major sources of pollution were addressed. They got down to the part of the smokes, the stacks that release the smell of the bread baking. You drive by a bakery, you smell it, you have that nice smell in the air of the bread baking. They wanted scutters put on top of that so the smoke would be diluted and you couldn't smell. The cost of that equipment was up to $50,000 per business. I don't know what the resolution was, but there was a lot of small businesses that could not afford that. Vote, and vote, and vote. Like location, 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 real estate, vote. Vote for people who will be friendly to business. Because if they get into Congress, or the legislature, or the county commission, and have to start writing rules on items that affect business, they will be aware of what it actually feels like and what will actually affect the small business community. And don't be resigned to changes. Don't be resigned, okay, well, we're just going to have to put up with this. In Virginia, the one county in farm country in Paris, Virginia, passed a law that regulated the sale of food. Farms were no longer able to sell food from a farm stand. They wanted health permits. The guise of it was, all right, we're going to protect the quality of the food. But these farms would sell the food, they would have ice cream socials, have children over for birthday parties, like they've done for hundreds of years. Well, one owner got fined $5,000 for a kid's birthday party. The county commissioner said, to carve pumpkins, you need a permit. So it's happening on all levels. There actually was a pitchfork protest at the county headquarters. They went down with pitchforks and they had enough of the situation. They stood up. So don't be resigned. Another classic case was the 1099 issue 2 years ago from Obamacare. Every vendor that you dealt with, if you deal with Office Max, Office Depot, or Staples, I'm sure you buy more than $600 a year. You would have had to send a 1099 to Staples. And to do that 1099, you would have had to get their employer ID number, have them fill it out, send it back to you for your records, and then send them a 1099 with the amount. It was a paperwork nightmare. The housing protests from all quarters were so loud that that was repealed. So stand up, don't be resigned, and there is a future. Number one is you have to vote in the people that will change the future and support those people. And don't be quiet. Make your voice be heard. That was our slogan for Toastmasters 2 years ago. Make your voice be heard. There is a spirit of entrepreneurship just below the surface. Remove the clutter of the regulations and the obstacles, that will explode. And when that explodes, you can then say, the spirit of entrepreneurship and innovation is no longer hidden in plain sight, it is now visible in plain sight. Madam Toastmaster.